Hello, my name is Peter Muller, and I am teaching Computer Science A this year. This is my second year teaching Computer Science A, so I'm very, very new to this, but I'm really enjoying it. I taught principles, or I'm teaching principles now for my sixth year, so my sixth year teaching computer science. I'm just going to make a little shorter video here, hopefully. I just made a 17-minute video on principles, which I don't think many people are going to watch. Hopefully they don't watch the whole thing. That's too much time, right? So just to kind of go over the basics, I got my syllabus to work off of here. First of all, if you ever need to get a hold of me, email right here is probably the best way to do it. And I will put a link to this in the Back to School folder also, so you can check it out there. I don't really use Schoology a lot. Maybe from time to time I might post something in there, but where students can kind of keep up with the daily activity is here on this Google agenda sheet, and so I'll try to put what we're doing every day up there. So if for some reason they have to miss class, they should be checking that. I also like to communicate with the students through Remind. So I don't know, I find it a little bit easier that way, and I can send an announcement out to each class really easily, like all the principal's kids or all the Comp Sci A kids just all at once, or even grab individual students and send them some quick question, or vice versa, they can ask me questions. So I like that. That's the join code right there at CS Awesome. I think parents can sign up too if you want to be part of whatever group messages I send out. Here is the join code for Schoology, although I think all the kids are in Schoology, so no problem there. Yeah, so one interesting thing about Computer Science A, one kind of clear distinction between Computer Science A and Computer Science Principles, the other course I teach, is in Principles it's very like open-ended. There's no set language that you're dealing with. The course is relatively new. Comp Sci A has been around for a lot longer. It's a much more established course. The curriculum is a lot more clearly defined. There's tons of resources out there available, and the programming language is Java. Like it's everyone's doing it in Java. The exam is written in Java. And a certain amount of the exam is like Java specific. Like you have to be, familiar with Java and the way Java works. And we're programming in Java all year, so we'll be doing it all year. And it is like what's kind of nice about that too is it's just about programming. It's just about how you can understand, read code, answer the prompts that they give you in terms of the FRQs and things like that. But it really is about programming. If you understand how to program in Java, you will do well in the AP exam. It's that simple. It's that simple. Now, this course really is meant to probably simulate a one-semester college level course. We do have a full year to do it. Many kids in the course have programming experience. I would say about a third to 45% of the kids maybe have a year of computer science principles last year. Although that last year was a little bit abbreviated because of COVID, so maybe they didn't have quite as much experience as a typical student coming from principals would have. And there's about a third of the students that don't have any programming experience, and the rest, for the most part, have a significant amount of coding experience, like kids that have maybe been in robotics or just really enjoy programming or somehow have been programming for several years. So, you probably have a student, at the high end who could walk in and take the AP exam today and, get a 5 and there's no problem. On the other hand, you have a student who is walking in with really little or no programming experience. So it's a really, and there is a middle ground as well. So it is pretty extreme. So what I'm really hoping for and asking for, is just that, everyone kind of respects the classroom. Everyone respects the idea that, that we're trying to bring everyone along for this ride, and that, the more experienced kids are willing to kind of be patient and, help share their knowledge with those that are less experienced. And for the most part, I think that's absolutely what's happened, last year and this year. So hopefully that continues. And what else do we got? What else do we got here? If you want to look at the units of study, They are all outlined right here. These have various weightings. So for example, a topic like recursion isn't like heavily weighted on the AP exam. I remember looking at a couple of released exams last year, and there might have been like 1 or 2 questions on recursion in terms of multiple choice. And I don't think the FRQs ever deal with recursion, so it's a much smaller topic. Although it's an interesting idea, it's not something that has to be, addressed super, super in depth. So when you really look at these things, those of you that have programming experience, you probably look at it and go, oh, well, it's pretty straightforward. And again, it is supposed to be an introductory 1-semester course. But I would argue that what makes this course different, and I think is going to present a fairly significant challenge to even people that came from principals last year, is this idea of object-oriented programming, right? And that's why we're using Java. And that's really probably the biggest difference between CompSci A and CompSci Principles, is this idea that you're dealing with an object-oriented language and you're having to think in terms of that paradigm, if you will, which we've actually already started to do. We've already got into Unit 2, and so students are starting to see some of those ideas and some of those concepts. And yeah, we're there, like we're going for it, right? So, this online textbook, I really like this. Again, for the students that are more advanced, this is probably a little bit tedious, but I really think for people that, are getting some exposure, this is a nice way to go about it, where, things are sort of broken down. They give you a little bit of reading to do, but then there's also, some questions that are asked. This question here is maybe not the best one. There's videos. There's certain like drag and drop things, where defines a new data type. It's like a blueprint, like a class, right? So you can sort of just like defines what an object can do, like a behavior, defines what it knows about itself, attributes or instance variables, specific instance of the class's object. So this is cool, and then you can check yourself and see, just these check for understandings, right? These little check for understandings are kind of built in throughout, and little playgrounds to test code and stuff like that too. So I really like this online textbook, and we will be kind of going through this online textbook for most of the course. Anywho's, I like that online textbook. And what else we got? So one of the big things, course expectations, is just idea of collaboration. I really think there's nothing better, than when students have the opportunity to, get an interesting problem and discuss it and, work through it together. I think there'd be so much benefit here, especially because we do have kids with more experience than others. If there's kind of that community feeling and, shared learning approach. So anyways, and then limiting the use of technology. Obviously we're using computers, right, to program computers. But by that, I mean, I really do think there's times when technology needs to be off, and we just need to be thinking, we just need to be collaborating, just talking, and logicking things out in our brains, Arguably, part of computer science is looking up solutions, looking up fixes to things, workarounds, using the Java API, things like that. So yes, searching for answers is part of computer science. Yes, that's probably true, but or definitely true. But at the same time, because the internet's so powerful, Google's so powerful, at some point, I think relying on the computer too much, relying on Google too much, whatever is Stack Overflow, wherever you're relying on too much, can kind of maybe stunt your own thinking a little bit. So at times, we definitely want to go to just paper, pencil, and limit the use of technology. Not to mention that when you get to the AP exam, it really does become one of those paper, pencil things, and you're not going to be able to use all those outside resources, right? Of course, academic integrity, and then if students are absent, please visit the daily agenda page. And again, just feel free to email me with any questions.